Hello, you're watching James. My name's James, you're watching me, and I'm talking about watches. Now, I've been meaning to buy this watch for some time. I'm not quite sure why I've been putting it off. I've just been putting it in the queue of watches to buy. It is the PYHLIDA GMT. Now, this watch homages a watch that I quite like, and it's a watch that I am quite familiar with because my brother owns this watch, and he has owned it for about 5 to 6 years. It is an Omega Seamaster GMT. And it looks a lot like it. So not only are they homaging it, they really have copied it a fair bit. Obviously, it does not say Omega on the dial, it says PYHLIDA. There is a no-name variation of it, but I quite like having a logo on a watch, so I picked up the PYHLIDA one. Now, if you are interested in this watch after watching this video, I'll leave one of those affiliate links down below. But let's jump into it and have a look at this PYHLIDA GMT. So here we have the PYHLIDA Seamaster GMT Omega Homage. I don't actually know what the model number is. I couldn't find one on the AliExpress site, but it comes in a fairly basic packaging. There's not really much to it, but that's okay. It comes with a little hang tag, and there's the spare links, as you can see. And thankfully, it comes with a watch. And the main reason I got this is because my brother actually owns the Omega Seamaster that this one is homaging. I particularly like that watch. I like the GMT functionality of it. I like the look and feel of it, and I particularly love the bracelet that his Omega has. It's gorgeous to wear on wrist. And I really wanted to get something that was homaging it, and I really wanted to be able to put it later on side by side. So there will be a video in the future of me putting this homage watch alongside that real Omega. So what are my first impressions of this one? Well, I have to say it's actually quite good. I really quite like it. It looks nice. It certainly looks a lot like my brother's GMT. It has a very nice bezel action. Actually particularly good. There's no backplay, no movement. Nice sound as well. Very pretty. The dial is done very well. It has that wave pattern, very similar to the Omega. Nice applied indices. I have noticed already though, obviously at this price, you're not really expecting to get a true GMT, so it's like a 24-hour indicator. And for about 130 Australian dollars, that's about what I would expect from it. Now, it does have a Chinese GMT movement in there. It is screw down crown, does have hand winding, does have hacking. Did you see that jump around? I think that's fairly indicative of these sort of movements. Pushing the crown in and out, you get a little bit of movement. I think, let's see if that GMT hand moves independently. So we're moving the date. No. So it's just going to be slaved to that hour hand. But that's okay. That's sort of what I expected at a watch this sort of price. I'm sort of more going for the look rather than the actual requirement to have the full GMT functionality. It's got a helium escape valve there, which I'm assuming that's not going to actually work. The bracelet's definitely not as good as the original. Obviously the original, they're all independent links and it conforms and fits the wrist really nicely. This, however, that's one solid link that is made to look like individual links. It is, however, solid. It does have solid end links. It does have a very similar looking clasp to that Omega as well. And one thing I have to say does surprise me a little bit. It has a milled diver's extension. I don't think I've seen that on another AliExpress watch, especially at this price. The case back is fairly simple, nothing too special there, but you can see there's also solid end links on the end of that bracelet. Overall, I think it actually looks quite nice. Certainly feels nice on wrist. So let me show you what that looks like on the wrist. And definitely sort of looks and feels like the original, has that same sort of feel, size, conformity to the wrist. Obviously, as I mentioned, that bracelet's not quite as good by any means, but certainly $100-something watch versus a $6,000 watch, I'm not that surprised by it. However, I think when you certainly look at a little bit of a distance, it does have that same look on wrist. So for an absolute fraction of the price, you're certainly going to get a bit of a feel of that Omega on your wrist. It does fit nicely. It's very comfortable. I think it's going to be a nice watch actually to wear quite long term. And as usual, I am going to wear this for quite a while so that when I do the full review of it, I can give you all the positives and negatives, the ins and outs. And I do find it takes a little while of wearing a watch to pick up on some of the little traits of it that are nice to point out to you guys that are watching the videos. I know when I watch reviews of watches, I really want to see those little things pointed out, the things that you can't really pick out on photos or just by having a quick look at it. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. Hope to see you again in the next video.